you ascribing hatred to me? Why? I mean, I know politics is nasty. You're an inspector of police. You have a touchlight looking for trouble everywhere. CCC has a parking lot there. You don't know if it's under rental. You don't know what the lease arrangement is. CCC has property all over. CCC has all the booths and everything. But you have touchlight looking for trouble. And so you will say that I told you I've not spoken to this boy in years. When last I saw you? I don't know when last I saw the boy. I don't know when last. You are the same one as an inspector of police who said that the government minister should be flogged. You are the same one. Today you're calling a radio station and say, I said I hate. Folks, I don't manifest hatred. I may be disappointed with somebody. I may be disgusted, but I don't harbor hatred. I can't. My energy is too positive to harbor hatred. Just too positive. You are a police officer. You know, how can you objectively assess a situation? How can you discharge your duties as a police officer when you are so blatantly political? Everybody has their own side. I don't have a difficulty with that. You have called for the flogging of ministers. Today you will call and say, I said I hate white people. And guess that? You have a witness who's a police officer. Who's the same witness that you all had when you all went and make a report against me. That's the same one. You need to stop it, man. If you want to jump into the political arena, take off the police uniform and come in the arena. Come. Come. But that touchlight you have looking for trouble, my brother, you better throw it away. You have a touchlight looking for trouble. And whatever trouble you're looking for, I just hope you can handle it. Because you are persecuting everybody all over the place. You go by Dark's place, you want to cause trouble there. Huh? You want to cause trouble by the man's business. Stop it. Stop it. Ou so police, sou vle fè politicien, vini wana. Your brother will be going up against the prime minister. You have enough time. Hold on. Everybody has their political biases, but you are too bold-faced, Chico. And stop lying. I hate white people. You believe I'm so stupid to say something like that? You believe I make asinine statements like that? You believe I'm a leader like Chasney? You believe the membrane where that capacity is supposed to be housed is empty? No, my brother, it's not. It's not. And stop it. So if there is a flabo and a labor in a fight, invariably everybody knows where your allegiance will go. How can you objectively discharge your duties as a police officer when you are displaying such blatant biasness towards a political party? Mr. Commissioner, I urge you to do the necessary purging, but that will be for another show. You see, because folks, politics is messed up. Politics is messed up, messed up, messed up. In politics, you gain many, many friends. Many friends. But likewise, politics comes with many, many enemies. It was the same Chico custody suites. I built it. It was the same Chico and Jan Gustav who came to me when I was in Flabo and asked me to build it. I went to Stevenson King. He gave me the money. I built custody suites. Just they mash it up. We have to find money, $4 million to build another one. You know? You all need to behave, man. You all need to behave. Politics is nasty. Politics is dirty. People end up hating you just because you support the principles and philosophy of a different political party. What is wrong with that? We could have varying views on any given issue. I'm a lawyer by profession. And in law, you are never right or wrong. You substantiate your argument as potently as you can with precedents. That's what you do as a lawyer. And that is why I have been one of the most successful lawyers in this country. Successful criminal lawyers. And that is beyond an iota of doubt. So we can have our political differences, but it ought not lead to hatred. I hate white people. You bloody liars, you are. Big inspector. Big inspector. So when you testify in court, Chico, your evidence have to be taken with a grain of salt. Because if you lie on alleged perpetrators like you lied on me today on radio, I can tell you, you're a pathetic, compulsive, unequivocal liar. And take off the inspector uniform, take it off, and jump in the political arena. You know? All sorts of names, once you're in politics, they call you. They defame you with impunity. They take you to the dogs. You know? Take you to the dogs because they feel your political allegiance is in variation with theirs. And for that, they want to take you to the dogs. You know? Folks, I have heard so much about myself. I have heard so much about Richard Frederick that sometimes I wonder if there is another Richard Frederick existing in some obscure corner of St. Lucia that I don't know about. In fact, there was one from Bexel who died. But, you know, you hear about Richard Frederick and you wonder, hey, who they talking about? And it's you. You know? I wonder if it's Richard Frederick, because 99.99999% of the things they say about you are untrue. Totally untrue. I've heard things about me so much. I've heard things about me so much that I wonder who the people talking about. And it's for this reason. When I am told things about others without any kind of justification, authentication, or substantiation, I don't accept it as gospel. Pavin dimwe, that one say and that one say. Enough of that. Nonsense, BS. Give me the empirical data, give me the evidence, documentary or otherwise, to substantiate what you see. Then I will believe. And that is why my show is so popular, because of the fact that I don't believe in BS. Don't come and tell me this one say, that one say. Bring me the evidence and prove what you see. I say I hate white people, and guess what? He has a witness, a policeman. You know? Police officer. You think I'm that stupid as a minister to open my mouth? I've never preached hatred. I did my bar in London. I was the only black person in my class. I never preach hatred. I will resist your racism if you come to me with it. But I don't preach hatred. I don't preach racism. I'm a black man. I'm proud of being black. But I don't hate anybody. If you want to confront me along racial lines, then so be it. I will deal with you accordingly. A pound for a pound, an ounce for an ounce. That's what it is. You know? But I don't just take things when people say that one say. Bring the evidence. Bring me evidence. But don't do like Shastney, you know. Don't do like Shastney, who says going and get evidence. He's going and get evidence. Like your mother Shastney, where the evidence? What more evidence you want? Let's take a listen to Shastney to start off the clips, folks.
There's a lot of evidence that I will bring back with me.
More evidence of what?
I saw with my own eyes. I heard with my own ears. There's a lot of evidence that I will bring back with me.
When I hear people say, oh, they want more evidence. More evidence of what?
There's a lot of evidence that I will bring back with me.
More evidence of what?
I want to make it very clear. I've made certain allegations tonight, and I will provide all of the evidence to those allegations.
More evidence of what?
I'm getting back to St. Lucia. I'm already, the lawyers have agreed to send me some of the documents within the next 10 days. There's a lot of evidence that I will bring back with me.
More evidence of what?
To hell with Martinez.
So the man said he's going to get evidence, and then they ask him, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? And he cannot provide the evidence. So he's asking more evidence of what? You see, folks, When I speak authoritatively. I speak authoritatively because I am able to substantiate proof of everything I see. I do not back. How Shasney call them again? Barking dogs. I am no barking dog. I will never be a barking dog. And I challenge anybody. I've had this show for how long now? I stayed 10 years in the political wilderness. I figured, well, let me just stay out of that. I had the show before that. So I've had my show for about 30 years, but I've been at NBC for well over about 13, 14 years. I started my radio program, you all remember, at HTS, you know, and I hate to hear people just say, I am told, yo dimwe. Give me the evidence. Give me empirical data to substantiate what you say. Then it will go down the annals of belief. But don't come and tell me I heard they say this and that and the other. I've had my fair share, and I can speak from a standpoint of knowledge, from a standpoint of being battered, from being bruised, from being assassinated as far as character assassination is concerned. So Pavin Dimwa here about DCIC, you see. Because I don't spew garbage, folks. I don't spew garbage. You know, I rely on empirical data, published information, and information from a reliable source, not unreliable. Like the ECCB, the governor of the ECCB made a presentation to cabinet, and it was refreshing to have heard him. It was refreshing to have heard him say that St. Lucia is on the right trajectory. And not only hear him, you know, I will show you the evidence tonight, and we will compare Shasney's performance in his 5 years to 3 years so far of Philip J. Pierre and another 2 years to go. You will see there is absolutely no comparison. And I didn't make up the figures. The data was accumulated, was gathered by staff of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. I didn't say. Maka Equipiers live by ECCB, not me. You know, and that information is published for the benefit of everybody. You know. Now, folks, I wanted to play the clip with my contribution to the House on Tuesday. But I will have our esteemed guest, the Honorable Prime Minister, a man who in my view is one of the leading regional leaders, a man in my view who has done quite a bit for Dominica. He has been Prime Minister of Dominica for 20 years. January this year was 20. He's into his 21st year as Prime Minister. And one of the things I've always judged people by is your political longevity of occupation of office. That is how I judge people. If I've run 4 elections and won all 4. Now, I will run more. And I can say this authoritatively. The people of Castries Central, the person who they'll vote for, apart from me, has not been born. They will give me the go-ahead to represent them every time I present myself to the electorate. So at this point, folks, let me introduce our guest, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of Dominica. How are you, Mr. Prime Minister?
I am very well. Thank you very much, Honorable Frederick, and of course to all your viewers and listeners.
Okay.
I'm happy to be on.
Well, you say viewers and listeners. Let me just give you a slight preamble about the magnitude of this show, Mr. Prime Minister. This show is one of the most, if not the most, popular shows in the Eastern Caribbean, in the OECS. It is one of the most, if not the most popular. Right now, we have, 1,000 live viewers on this show is minuscule. We always surpass between 1 and 2,000 is the average amount of live viewers that we attract. One of our shows, we had over 6,000 viewers. What happened to the Prime Minister on the screen? One of our shows, we had over 6,000 live viewers, and we have had pictures that reached 2.5 million people. A lot of our episodes reached over 200, 100,000. So basically, I'm saying this to let you know the magnitude of the audience you are reaching now and the global attraction that you will get, if not tonight, but persons will tune in and watch it later, I can assure you. So welcome, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you.
All right. When you became Prime Minister, I know in Dominica you all call it the CBI, Citizenship by Investment, and we call it the CIP, Citizen Investment Program, but they are one and the same. When you became Prime Minister, was that program already in place?
Yes, the program was in place. It was introduced by the Dominica Freedom Party, and then the United Coast Party, when it came in 1995, they re-engineered it. So when I became Prime Minister, it was already existing.
How well was it doing when you became Prime Minister?
Well, it wasn't doing well at all. And I'll just say that it came in March of 1993. So it was introduced in March of 1993. When we came into government, there was absolutely no sign of where the proceeds of the CBI would have gone to. The only known project at the time was a very controversial one called the Lai River Project, the Lai River Hotel Project. Of course, subsequently, there were some hotels that were given some funds, some properties were given some funds from the citizenship program. But insofar as government spending, there was no reporting to the parliament. No one could tell you or show you any project, anything in Dominica that was financed by the Citizenship by Investment Program prior to me becoming Prime Minister of the country.
Very well. So would it be correct to say that before you became Prime Minister, that the accountability and transparency that was necessary to oversee the spending of those funds was absent?
It's completely absent. I mean, you will hear people asking questions now in Dominica because the reality is the impact of the CBI program in Dominica is pervasive. It is throughout the length and breadth of Dominica. So it has attracted a lot of attention. The opposition in Dominica believes that if they can get rid of the CBI program, then this government will fall because the government won't have access to the resources that it currently has to continue to improve the lives and livelihoods of Dominican people. But in terms of transparency and accountability, that was non-existent. Dominicans could not tell you anything with regards to how these monies were being spent by the government of Dominica at the time.
Seemingly have a commonality or a common thread going through the oppositions in Dominica and St. Lucia, because they are trying desperately to ensure that they derail the CIP program because of the resources that it makes available to assist the government in discharging the social duties to the people of this country. Tell me, Mr. Prime Minister, under your tenure, how many, in fact, from the time it was introduced until now, but because there was no transparency and accountability, you might not be in a position to tell us. But between the introduction and now, how many passports would you say have been issued by Dominica through that program?
Well, through the program from 1993 to now, we may be speaking maybe about 48,000, 49,000 thereabout. Obviously, you have one applicant, you have dependents.
Yes.
In that application. But in terms of applications, you're talking about 48 to 49,000 applications, you know.
And that is over a period of almost what? Almost 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
Good. They have accused this administration of selling 56,000 passports in less than 3 years. Now, in terms of housing and infrastructure, Mr. Prime Minister, could you tell us what the program has done? I'll give you time in housing and in infrastructure. Infrastructure, let it cover hospitals, bridges, health centers, whatever. But can you give us a brief synopsis of the benefit of the program to the Dominican populace?
Just to say to you, Honorable Frederick, when I became Prime Minister, I took a deliberate decision that we were not going to rely on the proceeds from the CBI for our recurrent expenditure. And we designated all of the funds from the CBI to public infrastructure and also paying down our more expensive loans. So we were using the funds for two purposes: payment of high interest loans and public infrastructure. And if you come to Dominica, I mean, the impact of the CBI program, it is really unprecedented in its execution. You're talking about major highways, talking about bridges, you're talking about health centers, talking about regional health centers, you're talking about hospitals, you're talking about schools, you're talking about a marina that we're now building, you're talking about several hotels that have been completed and are underway, under construction. You're talking now that we're building an international airport. And we build an international airport, and this should be the only country in the world who would have built an international airport and not have any debt associated with it for future generations to pay. And housing, the impact on housing is just amazing. So far from 2005, 2006, you're talking about maybe about 3,000 homes that have been constructed by this government to the benefit of the people of Dominica. Now, that is outside of the funds that we use to respond to Erica, to Maria, through the COVID-19 pandemic, where we provided funds to repair homes and repair roofs for so many of our families and citizens who lost the roofs as a result of Hurricane Maria. We invest in agriculture, we invest in manufacturing. Small business development has received significant funds by way of grants and very low interest loans. You're talking about 2% and 3% interest loans to small businesses across Dominica. And we continue to provide support in a number of those areas to the benefit of the Dominican people.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that properly, Did you say, Mr. Prime Minister, that, well, I know the airport has started. I know it has started. I saw the excavation. I saw work being done there. Did you say that the airport would be totally completed without any liability attached to the funding of that airport? Did you say that?
Certainly, there'll be no liability attached to this. We are funding it exclusively with proceeds from the CBI program. Work is well on its way. We are about 4% ahead of schedule, notwithstanding the rains that we've had. And we're pushing along, and we just continue to keep our fingers crossed and look to the heavens to ensure that this project comes to a successful completion. And it's amazing. And just to say to you, Honorable Frederick, one of the things I want to share with your listeners too. Prior to Hurricane Maria, we were saving for two reasons. One, we were saving, we had an international airport development fund, so the plan was to save money for the construction of international airport. And at the time of Maria, we had in excess of $260 or so $1 million in the account. Had it not been for Maria, we would have had enough money in the banks to build the airport in cash. And then we're doing a second thing. We were saving, and I never said so to people until several years ago. we were saving from the CBI into a special account in our national bank to pay for national debt. And had it not been for Hurricane Maria, we would have raised enough money to pay off every single person in the world we are owing as a country.
Wow.
And would have been the first developing country in the world to have a 0% debt to GDP ratio.
Wow.
Yeah, zero.
Wow.
And then and my plan was the monies that we were paying for loans and interest payments, we would create a special fund and we would continue to pay into that fund as if we were still paying loans.
Yes.
And then use that money now to help grow the economy, address issue of poverty, and social dislocation, which will always exist in our societies. And so this is what we are doing with the CBI program, because the reality is, like everything else, we recognize that it may not necessarily be with us forever. And so we are preparing ourselves to win ourselves out of the CBI. If that were to happen, God forbid, at some point in time. You understand? And this is what we want about managing the affairs of the CBI program. And as I said to you, prior to me becoming Prime Minister, there were no reports to Parliament, and it was never in the estimates of revenues. It was never recognized as a special source of funds for capital projects and programs. If you go to our budget estimate, you will see where it is written Citizenship by Investment Program. It tells you how much we project to raise in the current financial year, and in the reporting previous year, it tells you how much we actually raised. And if you go into the capital estimate, you will see where it will say source of funding, CBI. You understand? And this is what it is. And we are not opposed to any legitimate scrutiny, any legitimate questions and concerns that any citizen or resident may have. What we are opposed to, and we almost condemn as countries who have the CBI program, is to condemn those who are knowingly, maliciously seeking to undermine the opportunities that our countries have to help improve the lives of our citizens. And it is unfair that people will go the lengths and partner with people who have no interest in the welfare of any one of our citizens to seek to undermine the program. And this is unfair, and I think this must not be viewed from a political standpoint. This is our region. These are our islands. We owe it to our children to ensure that we place the government in the best possible position to be able to provide for its people. And I have heard reports that in St. Lucia, you are looking at housing from by way of the CBI. And I've also heard that you can add infrastructure by the way of CBI to improve your roads on your road network. I am saying to you, if you have the opportunity, it's a wonderful way to go to address the housing challenge that all of us will have in this region. And so many citizens are seeking to a better quality home. And just to say to you, in Dominica, all of the homes that we have built, every single one of them has been given to the beneficiaries at no cost to them. They have paid no money, not one single dollar for this. Now, people have accused me and say, well, Skerry spoiling the people. I'm legal. I don't believe so. I believe that, as a government, we have a duty and obligation to provide better housing for our citizens. I believe that we have a biblical and Christian duty to provide for the homeless, and we'll continue to do so. So I don't want to see it as a political responsibility, because it's really not a political responsibility.
It's a moral
but responsibility. I see it as a Christian and biblical responsibility that is really captured in the Gospel of Matthew.
Yes, very well, because you preempted me. Over 3,000 houses given away, an airport being built totally debt-free. I just wish some of those people, the naysayers, would understand the kind of economic impact that this program has on Dominica. One of the things I want to ask you, and you see again, it goes with the naysayers. When I advertised that you would be on, one of your critics said that how come you all have so much money and you all don't have a marina and an airport? I want you to repeat what you said about the airport and the marina. Let the Naseers listen, please, in 1 minute. Just
I will say to you that the marina has started.
very well.
It is going to be a wonderful project. It's going to employ a significant number of people during construction and a significant number of Dominicans after it is constructed. I can tell you that the majority of Dominicans are excited about this project. With respect to the airport, works are ongoing. On site, as of tonight, we have 311 Dominicans employed in the project site. 311 Dominicans, born Dominicans, who are directly employed on the airport side. One can speak about the indirect number of employment during construction. But it works ongoing, and we can only continue to pray to the Lord that He will see this project through to completion, because this is the project, my view, and the view of many, that is going to help continue the transformation of Dominica and to bring the kind of prosperity that we envisage and to create a dynamic Dominica that we envision for our people.
Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to explain to our listeners and the wider audience who will down the road listen to this interview. Have you ever been, no, I should preface that by saying, I was listening to a guy called Philip Martinez, who said that he knows Dominica has been threatened with a withdrawal of correspondent banking. Is that true?
Well, I'm not aware of this. I don't think there's any truth to this. There's no truth to this. I can tell you, and also say to you, Mr. Frederick, I've been Prime Minister for 20 years, as you indicated. And for all of those 20 years, and Prime Minister Dr. Ken Anthony could tell you so, unfortunately, Honorable Compton is deceased, but Honorable King could tell you, Honorable Shasney could tell you, Honorable Pierre could tell you. I have worked with all of his prime ministers. And all of those times, we've had to battle with the developed countries in respect to correspondent banking and the whole de-risking that they have been engaging in. This has been a mantra of the Caribbean for many years. And for anyone to link correspondent banking to CBI exclusively is really not being honest with the people of the Caribbean. And so there's no threat. I believe what is being done by some, I see on social media and others, our own citizens. What they're seeking to do is to hope that there could be some injury caused to the program and some injury caused to our banks, and hoping that we would not have a corresponding bank. But let me say to St. Lucians, let me say to Dominicans, let me say to all the Caribbean people, that if we allow these people to continue on this crusade that they are going on, with the sole intention of seeking to undermine our country and our government's ability to provide to us, if what these guys are doing, they were to succeed, we have to understand that every single person in our countries will be dramatically affected by this. So don't believe that it's governments going to be affected. The opposition elements believe that if something were to go wrong in Dominica, only Skerrit would be impacted. Every single citizen will be impacted. And so the issue of threats to withdraw correspondent banking, there's no evidence of this. I have not been told so. I have been in touch with our banks here. No one has said to me that is the case. They continue to maintain very productive and responsible and ethical relationships with the correspondent banks, and they will continue to do so under the overall umbrella of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And so it is really unfair what they're doing. It is really sad what some people are seeking to do to undermine our countries, and it is wrong, and we all must stand in defense of our patrimony.
I agree with you more. In fact, up to this morning, whilst preparing for this show, I saw a threat. Well, a guy out of America is trying to lure St. Lucians into joining Martinez in a lawsuit. Martinez filed a RICO lawsuit. It is not against the state. St. Lucia, the state of St. Lucia, has nothing to do with it. He has not sued the Attorney General or the government of St. Lucia. He has sued individuals and companies. But he's asking St. Lucians to come on board, and if they do, each of them will get 100,000 US. What do you think of this kind of scare tactic, or to lure people with promises of unjust enrichment if they do something that will not affect the country at all? What do you think of this?
I think it's unfair. It's a classic demonstration of disrespect and disregard for the intelligence of St. Lucians and our Caribbean people. To promise somebody something that you know you can't deliver, and wanting to get into to really engage in all this treason against your country, to benefit from it. It tells you to the extent which these people will go to seek to destroy our countries, and I believe that intelligent people, sensible people, patriotic people, people who love your country, love all countries, and people who have so much to lose in our countries must stand. We cannot be silent bystanders and allow these people to manifestly seek to undermine our countries. And this is really a declaration of war. And when there's a declaration of war, we have to, I'm not telling us to use, in the real sense, our arms, but we have to stand and be counted in the defense of our country. And it's unfortunate that people are remaining silent on this but it is really mind-boggling. I mean, we were in opposition. Our party, the Dominican Labour Party, was in opposition for 20 plus years. And we never engaged in such activities. I mean, when Rosie and Mike would have traveled overseas, it was to speak positively about our countries, to defend our countries. Rosie was able to get British parliamentarians to ask questions on Dominica's behalf in the British Parliament. When Rosie came to the Caribbean and told John Compton and told Eugenia Charles that the banana industry is going to suffer a serious blow, Rosie offered himself to work with them jointly. And Rosie went to the UK, went to Europe, and spoke and lobbied on behalf of all the Winner Island countries in a positive, constructive way. And so let us engage ourselves in the political arena on policies, on programs, and not personalities, and not seeking to destroy our countries, hoping that we can gain power. And if you gain power, God forbid, what are you going to do with the country that you have destroyed?
You see, the thing is, the hope is to create a certain degree of uncertainty, instability, and to create anxiety, a degree of anxiety in our people that, look, we need the opposition to come to our rescue. And this is what is being manifested as we see now. Now, Mr. Prime Minister,
I don't know about St. Lucia, but certainly in Dominica, this opposition will never see the halls of government, ever. Dominican people are very clear on that. They will never see the halls of government at all. Not in Dominica. Not in Dominica.
But then, Mr. Prime Minister, at the end of the day, I've told people the opposition does not mark your report card insofar as performance as a prime minister is concerned or as a district rep is concerned. Who marks the card are the persons who are supposed to elect you into office. And of course, you have had longevity as a prime minister. You've won overwhelmingly. That, in my view, indicates that you've been wholesomely embraced. At least your policies have been embraced by the general public. That does not mean that others are not trying to infiltrate and there wouldn't be an opposition. They are named the same thing, ironically, both here and in Dominica, the United Workers' Party. But what I want to ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, since I indicated that you would be on with me, there have been many scathing attacks, not necessarily on you, but questioning your integrity, the integrity of the program, rather, in relation to transparency and accountability. Although you've addressed it, you almost preempted me because you said it was non-existent, and now you have to go to Parliament to get approval for the spending, which is extremely good. But I know how that works, and I know how persons can basically just accuse you left, right, and center. They make accusations without an iota of truth, and they level it at anybody. I am a sacrificial lamb. I understand that. I've been down that road, and I know what it is. But I want to ask you this. What do you want to say to the Dominican people, even your opponents? Even your opponents, because I'm quite happy. I must say I'm relieved that you indicated that a marina is under construction, and so is the airport, and you all are 4% advanced. Because one of your naysayers was saying, how come you all have so much money and don't have a marina and an international airport? But you are getting there thanks to your vision. But I want to ask you, what do you want to say to the people of Dominica, the people of the region, the people of the wider world, that either may be Dominican or may have an interest in obtaining citizenship through that program, to allay their fears that Dominica is in perfect hands?
Well, I can say to you that we continue to run the affairs of the program and the affairs of the country in a very transparent way. We can stand the test of scrutiny from anybody, as we've done. We continue to work with our international and regional partners. We have an MOA among ourselves, and we've agreed on certain principles that we can do certain things jointly within the countries with the program. We have worked with the Americans, and particularly the U.S. Treasury, who gave us the 6 points that we jointly agreed to implement, and we've been implementing those. We continue to work with the European Union and others to address any concerns that they may have, or they may believe that our programs may pose. And so we're very open to engaging anybody, our citizens, our non-citizens, our international partners, our regional partners, on what they believe we can do to continue to enhance our program. But I believe that our programs in the region are being managed transparently. We aspire to have a robust due diligence process, and to ensure that the integrity of our program and our programs are maintained. And I think that when you listen to things that have been said about the program, it's really just political mischief. It's really political mischief, and it is all about seeking to undermine the ability of the government to provide for our citizens. And so I can say to you without any fear of contradiction, we are running a very transparent program. We can account for the money. They are in the projects on the ground in Dominica. The reporting to the Parliament is very clear. And we will continue to be as transparent as the word transparent can be, and accountable as the word accountable can be. And so it's really political mischief. It's really sad that what these guys are doing to our people and to our country. And I tell people, if it was just me they were attacking, it's okay. I can deal with that. I've been dealing with that for 20 years. But when they're attacking the very fabric of our society, they're attacking the opportunities that the vulnerable are getting to leave them how they are, the working class we have raised to the middle class, and ensuring that people can earn decent pay and they can get decent jobs, or we can continue to send our children to universities to educate themselves, irrespective of their families' economic and social circumstance. They're seeking to take this from people. And that's not politics. That was never politics. Never politics. And I think it's unfortunate. But insofar as the program, Honorable Frederick, we're very transparent, we're very accountable, and you can see where the funds have been spent before CBI program. And those who want to engage themselves in political mischief, if that suits them, if that makes them sleep better at night, then they can continue.
Very well. Anything else, Mr. Prime Minister, before I let you go?
Thank you very much. Let me say, let me say happy birthday to my dear friend, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Yes, I believe that he's getting younger every single day I see him.
Yes.
And so we continue to pray for good health and strength and courage for him. If I'm to say, without interfering in internal affairs of St. Lucia. I think he's doing a fantastic job. He's a man of high integrity and high repute, and he's a wonderful human being. And I'm happy to call him my friend. So I wish him all the best, and of course to all St. Lucians. I wish you all the best as you continue to maneuver around the challenges. The world is pregnant with challenges. The Russia-Ukraine war, the fallout from COVID, the situation between Israel and the Palestinians. I mean, these things have created great uncertainty and has given biting away from our fiscal space and creating increased challenges for us. And what we have been able to do as governments in this region is really extraordinary to keep the wheels of government turning and to ensure that we can continue to provide for children. Every single child in St. Lucia, every school in St. Lucia has been open. Every single school in Dominica has been open, and we continue to provide for children. It's remarkable. And I think that we just have to have a greater sense of unity and mutual respect and work together. We don't have to always agree, but for Christ's sake, why do we appear to always disagree?
Thank you very much, Mr. Honorable Skerritt. I must say, you are one of those I admire, and I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, it is okay to just hear about somebody, but when you look at, I've always said, don't tell my story if you've never read my book, and your book is well written. Your political longevity speaks voluminously, and invariably, the development track that Dominica is on, through your hands, you shall be eternally recognized, and you will go down in the annals of history, not only in Dominica, but throughout the Eastern Caribbean, if not the globe.
I will say to you before I leave, from time to time, I do watch you in Parliament.
Okay, if you stay on, if you keep watching the show whilst you're off, my next thing is a clip of one of my contributions last Tuesday.
I will continue to follow until the end.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless to you too.
Bye-bye.
Yes,
Okay,
indeed. Okay, folks, that was the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerritt, a man whom I have special admiration for. Because, folks, I'll tell you something. My admiration for Roosevelt Skerritt does not come from him as a person. It comes from what he has done for the people. And those are the traits I see instilled in Philip J. Pierre that has caused me to love him even more and more and more on a daily basis. From the time you're checking for your people, once you are doing what is necessary for the less fortunate people, the Almighty must bless you with political longevity. We have a 6-star general. He's on his 5th term as Prime Minister. What does that say to you? Yes, there will be naysayers. There will be naysayers. Well, I've said already, I've won 4 elections in Central. I might do 2 or 3 again. And I can say for now, once God continues to give me the strength that he does, I am not leaving office in a hurry. And that having been said, folks, I want to play. How long is that clip? Because we have to go for a break. We can play that clip now? Okay. Listen to my contribution in Parliament on Tuesday, and I will piggyback on it as the show continues.
Guarantee that I will not belabor what is obviously an extremely good gesture by this government on behalf of the civil servants of this country. I want to start off my brief discourse or my brief contribution, Mr. Speaker, by basically disclosing or rather highlighting the fact that the NIC is in such a good position that they can come to almost anybody's rescue. And you know why that happens, Mr. Speaker? Because of the policies ruled out by this government. Unemployment being very low invariably has the domino effect on the collections by NIC. They have indicated earlier this year, Mr. Speaker, that last year they collected the most money ever on record as contributions from employers and employees. And this did not happen by accident, Mr. Speaker. This did not happen by accident. It did not happen fortuitously. It happened because we have a man at the helm of this ship. We have a captain who can navigate the financial waters and bring reprieve to the people of this country, Mr. Speaker. That is what we have, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, only yesterday, we received what was a refreshing presentation from the ECCB staff, Mr. Speaker, captained by the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And Mr. Speaker, though this forum may not provide me with the opportunity to explain to the people of St. Lucia the trajectory on which our country was from 2016 up to 2021. It was really disheartening, Mr. Speaker, when our debt to GDP was at an all-time low when the Labour Party left office in 2016. It was at an all-time low, and by 2021, it was the highest ever on record in this country. That is a fact, and we will show it. And guess what, Mr. Speaker? You know, one of the things I asked the Governor General, are you meeting the leader of the opposition? And he said yes. I said, are you going to explain that to him? Will he see this chart? He said yes. So, the governor of the ECCB. Sorry. And he said yes. And that was reassuring, Mr. Speaker, because they will tend to say, we drew the chart. They will say, when I put it up at a different forum, them fellas that draw that. That is what they will say. So it was really reassuring when the governor of the central bank put this chart up in cabinet, and I was audacious enough to ask him what you think accounted for that rise in debt to GDP between 2016 and 2021, and obviously the fall from 2021 till now. He said, Mr. Frederick, I know where you're going. That was his answer. But it is just prudent management, Mr. Speaker. That is exactly what it is. It is prudent management, because when a man could take our country, our debt to GDP at its lowest ever and release it at its highest ever, it has to take prudent management to steer the ship, Mr. Speaker, back to a situation on a trajectory of seeming prosperity. And I want to say this, Mr. Speaker. Numbers never lie. No matter what we say, numbers don't lie. Mr. Speaker, since we lost the protection of our bananas on the European market in 1992, 32 years ago, the economy of this country has never grown successively for 3 years by more than 3%. Guess what? Guess what? For the last 3 years, we have grown by more than 3%. The governor of the ECCB indicated we're on a trajectory to grow by between 7 and 7.5% at the end of this financial year. And he projects a 4% growth in the year next year. That would mean, Mr. Speaker, that would mean that St. Lucia would enjoy a record under this administration of 5 years of consecutive growth of more than 3% every year. And compare that, Mr. Speaker, to what was taken for governance, what preceded 2021. And I dare say, Mr. Speaker, it was a divine intervention. Bodye te supposé me la me, ek bodye me la me, si pa sa, ne nou tout te ka ne. That is what would have happened to us. We were going down the precipice, Mr. Speaker, rolling into the sea, and all of us would have drowned in debt. We would have drowned. And I will show St. Lucia how under the last administration, they took our economy from the best to the worst. They took our debt to GDP from the lowest to its highest. Yet they claim they managed the country well. But Mr. Speaker, when you have that kind of guarantee, anyone who opposes it opposes the development and empowerment of our people. Because that guarantee, Mr. Speaker, at 3%
which mean the on-lending would be about 4.5%, would be an unprecedented interest rate for civil servants in this country. And I want you to, everybody around this table, to give themselves a round of applause. Because civil servants would have never seen such a facility. In the first place, you don't need a deposit, you get 100% financing. You do not pay stamp duty. Stamp duty on $400,000, Mr. Speaker, at the 2% statutory legislated is $8,000. $8,000 you get off, $1,000 towards your legal fees, no deposit. What more can the government do for you to empower you? What more, Mr. Speaker? You know, probably, Mr. Speaker, and that's the thing, you know, that is the thing. People's empowerment is important. Not the empowerment of foreigners and friends and those people who just come and we take things and give them golo. Or we take passports, tell them sell it and put the money in an escrow account overseas. No, Mr. Speaker, the government is doing whatever it can to ensure that the people of this country, especially the civil servants, are empowered and given incentives so that each and every civil servant can now embark upon having their own piece of St. Lucia. Mr. Speaker, not too long ago, we had this open day in Talvan, Barbono. We had 73 lots, 73. And they were gone the very day, Mr. Speaker. They were gone the very day that we had the open day. They were gone that same day. Because you know what? When we calculated the break-even cost, Mr. Speaker, or the break-even price, bearing in mind that the roads would be concreted, there would be water, electricity, everything, Mr. Speaker, I indicated to the Prime Minister that the break-even price would have been around $16, $16.50. And he said to me, Mr. Minister, empower our people. Do whatever it takes. Take a loss if you have to. We will subsidize it. But give the people the land at less than the $16 it will cost you. And we went down to $14.50 a square foot, Mr. Speaker. And I can tell you there are loads and loads of civil servants who now have made deposits and will soon be owners of a piece of St. Lucia. So, Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly support this gesture, this initiative. It will not, yes, a guarantee is part of your debt portfolio, but given the record that the bank has had with NIC, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that SLDB will meet its commitments to the National Insurance Corporation. And you know, Mr. Speaker, that is the good thing. We are taking pensioners' money to assist other St. Lucians. We are not taking pensioners' money to give to any establishment, institution, or foreign company to buy land and make millions in profit. We are not doing that. We are using pensioners' money for the benefit of us all. That is what we are doing, Mr. Speaker. We are not taking $30 million and give Carbot or give this one. No. No. We are using pensioners' money to empower St. Lucians. And I'm hoping, Mr. Speaker, that every other administration, every other government, whether it is United Workers' Party or the St. Lucia Labour Party, should be guided by this principle, Mr. Speaker. If you are using our pensioners' money, use it for the benefit of St. Lucians and not the benefit of foreigners. And so, Mr. Speaker, with those few words, as I said, I wholeheartedly, if there is anything such as 200%, I support this motion 200%. I thank you. Okay, folks, we're going to break right away. You all saw me eating my chicken because Black Boy promised me we're going to break right away, and then he focused on me. Oh, God, Black Boy, chicken break.
watching MBC.
The winning numbers for the evening draw of Thursday, 19th September 2024 were tic-tac-toe 3, 8, 9, 11, 14, 20, 21. Big 4, 6, 6, 6, 6. Big 4 multi-X, 2X. Pick 2, 3, 6. Pick 2 multi-X, 2X. 1 off, 7, 0, 9. Lucky 3, 0, 9, 4. Lucky 3 multi-X, 2X.
My name is Martina. I would like to say thank you to the guys from Paddy Access, especially Jermaine, for a job well done. I called him 2 days before my brother's funeral to do a live video, and I was not disappointed. He was professional and kept in touch with me throughout the live, just making sure I was satisfied with everything. I would definitely use Paddy Access again, and I highly recommend that anyone looking to do a live video to hire them. Everyone who watched my brother's funeral had good things to say about how much of a good job the videographer did. If you want satisfaction for your money, Paddy Access is the way to go.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway. Call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Stay in tune. Maxwell, behave for Amen, Maxwell Joseph from Monrepo here waiting my call. Okay, Maxwell, I'm calling you now. Maxwell, Boswell. Jeff George, good night. Joan Filges, good night to you. Sidonia Childs, Volney, good night to you. Great show, Minister, and the comments over 300 of them. Vicky Butcher, Zachary Hippolyte, good night. Fidonia of Larry Tret, good night to you. My girl teacher Fifi, good night. All of those. Somebody says, evening, sir, if you message, please. Greetings to Mrs. Mary Joseph of United Shipping Agencies, coming from Junior and Augustine. Her birthday is tomorrow. Frances Robb over in New York. All those persons in New York who are logged on, I could see all. Frances, my sister, Frances Robb, Sophia, Bia Uba, I'm by Shosai. Martin Philogen, good night to you, comrades. Good night, good night, good night. Harvey Shalmine, a special good night to you. And all the others, David Monlouis over in the US, good night to you. Tim No Sleep over in England, good night, good night. Fabian, Makla, Delman, all the others, good night. Latoya Popo, good night to you. Merlin Samuel, good night, good night, good night. Clinton Gasser, you really doing me things, you know. You know, Clinton, take a picture of me and my chicken bone. We got some coffee and by guy. Francis, good night to you, my brother. Good night, good night, good night. I will call you in a, oh, you have to call me. I will tell you when to call me, Francis, to give us an update on the football business. I will tell you when to call me. Lena San Marie over in Staten Island, New York. Good night to you guys. I know you guys are locked on. Garfield will never forget it's my chicken brick. So, you know, good night to everybody. Let me just deal with one thing. Mr. Healer, good night to you. Has Chico retired, the police officer? Oh, okay. I didn't know. FL Bert and FL Dread, good night to you. Alec, good night. Betty, good night. Cutty Ranks, good night to you, my brother. Good night, good night. The Sewaks, good night to you. Menassas, Kisera, Leonard, and all of you. A special, special good night. Skinny, Gaza, they bow me eating your chicken on TV. That ain't fair, you know. Black boy, you see you, I taking you to court for defamation of character. Lord. But folks, I want to send condolences to the Andres, Rufus Andre and your daughters, on the passing of Beverly. Beverly was a prayer warrior. Beverly fell ill, and unfortunately, she succumbed to her illness. But, you know, as I've always said, God giveth and he taketh. So it's something we have to deal with. It's never easy when it comes around. But, you know, we find courage and strength in knowing that the Almighty does and knows what he's all about. Miss Sidoni, good night to you. Jackie, good night to you. Tandy Flood, good night. Tandy asked me, when am I calling Ralph? Tandy, Ralph has called this show more than once, okay? He has called this show more than once. Diane and Talvin, good night to you. Trish and Deriso, you all put chasne there. Mwen ha di zot da jade wiso sala. Ki ka sipote moun pou detwi peyi a zon pou nou boutsa eleksyon ka vini. Na desen a bala. Se seman ka wete cemetery road. Na fe kome swela. Na dormi a Kylie. Because my target, I have two projects. Shasne and what's the other one name? The banker liar. The one that lies. I don't know if he got that from Shasne, but tonight I'll show you the letters claiming that he only got 100,000, but disingenuously dismissing or not disclosing the letter that preceded the 100,000. He got a 60,000 before. Deban mate son kozoi. Maxwell, okay? Now, folks, it is really refreshing. It is really notice. I have never called any ex-convicts on this show. You go on DBS, you have ex-convicts one after the other. Yes, a man can be in opposition, but to have been in opposition for 20 years means it says something. It says something, and it reminded me of the leader of the opposition in St. Vincent, who was leader of the opposition for a very long time, but he wasn't giving up. He wasn't giving up. And I remember one time, Stephenson King was prime minister then. He took me to a heads of government meeting in St. Vincent with him. And Ralph, I was sitting next to him, and the one from St. Kitts, the short, what's his name again? I forget his name. Denzel Douglas. I was sitting between leader of the opposition and Denzel Douglas. And Ralph was addressing. And then Ralph said, you think the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines stupid? They vote for a real government, not one that is not a real government. And I was embarrassed, but I had to contain my laughter. But folks, on a more serious note, you have a television station that brings you, if you want to be thrilled, if you want to listen to good stuff, that's not the advice you take. Imagine today I'm reading Shine that Shastri had brought to St. Lucia, who was given 10 years, said that, what's his name? Pop Daddy, or whatever name they call him. Didi, who is now charged and has been denied bail, notwithstanding he offered $50 million. I'm reading Shiny saying, did he mess him up? Because he was involved in the shooting. But Shastri brought this man here as a motivational speaker. Motivational speaker. Women. Then Martinez, who has been in prison in 2 different continents in the world. Then a lawyer, what's his name again? I forget. Been to prison. Then one from Dominica, who is in opposition. Rijok, yes, is his name. You know, I'm not going down that road. I have brought a leader, like him, hate him. You know, and as I said in my preamble, politics, that's what it does. You make a lot of friends, but invariably, as long as people don't see issues along your same political trajectory, they hate you. They don't dislike you, you know, they hate you. It enters the realms of complete hatred. But Skerritt's slate has a lot to show. He has a lot to show, and I will understand. I will understand why Roosevelt Skerritt will keep winning again and again and again. He will. Over 3,000 houses given away. I mean, the last time I went to Dominica, I was amazed. I was amazed at the developmental pattern that Dominica had undertaken. Now, some people who are in opposition are trying to dissuade me from believing what I see with my very eyes. And you cannot do that because I believe in tangible evidence. Over 3,000 houses, an airport without debt, an airport without liability. And look, under the Labour Party administration, the previous one, Shastri found all mechanisms in place to have had a new airport under a PPP arrangement, which means for 30 years we would have had no revenue. Unlike Dominica, they'll have revenue from day one because they'll build it cash. And I must say, I believe whatever the Prime Minister said, that they were saving, and that is vision extraordinaire. That is something we need to applaud the man for rather. And when that airport is open, I believe the first flight that comes in, he should be on it. That is my view. That is my view. Because when you can lead your country, even wanting to pay out, another thing, pay out the national debt. I mean, that is remarkable. What can you tell me? What can you tell me to convince me that this Roosevelt Skerritt has not navigated the affairs of Dominica in a positive way? A guy came on my page and said, how come we don't have marina and airport? We heard tonight. And obviously, in terms of running a country, you have to prioritize. Because Rome itself wasn't built in a day. So he gave housing to his people priority. 3,000 of them given away. And then he's tackling other amenities that will bring international traffic to Dominica, whether by air or sea. That is how you run a country. So Clyde, whatever your name is, George or whatever, you said on my page that, and opening your mouth and say, I have white carpet in my house. Yes, I have a big house. Yes. Everybody knows I have a big house. Everybody knows I have a nice house. I built my house even before I was in politics as a lawyer. Everybody knows I like nice cars and I have very expensive vehicles. Everybody knows that. But I can afford it. So it is not a situation where I rely on government to give me everything. And that thing about reliance on government is bad. But Skerrit is still discharging the social responsibility laid on his shoulders by the electorate of Dominica. And you all might not even know this. After Hurricane Maria, whatever the hurricane was, Erica or whatever, because of the infrastructural damage that Dominica suffered, I went to a climate change meeting, and Dominica is almost climate resilient now. Dominica is one of the countries in the world that is almost climate resilient, if not totally climate resilient. And that cannot happen by accident. That takes a man with vision. That takes a man with a conscience. That takes a man who cares for his people. So when you hear people talking brah, 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 when you hear they are talking, you look at what was there before I came in and look at what is there now. In Castries Central, nobody can talk to me. Nobody. Put all the reps together from time immemorial, and in probably 1 year I did more than all of them together. Fallace now. And as I speak, you all will see Serenity Park as busy as whatever come next week. Because they were there today doing setting up and doing everything. Okay? An amphitheater is coming there. So that is what you want in a politician. You want a politician, a representative that can take your country from down there and at least bring it up here. And when you tell me he has released the levers of power with a totally paid for airport, how can you have any grounds? How can you begrudge this man? When he tells me he gives you a marina without any kind of debt associated, no liability. How can you, please, 3,000 houses. You may not support him, but there's this old saying in Creole, Hayon shemedi daibla. Hayon shemedi daibla. Even when I was in the United Workers' Party, I was in opposition then for the first couple months because it was a by-election. I applauded the Labour Party under Kenny Anthony for passing much needed legislation in this country. I can't remember the legislation now. But I did not oppose for opposing sake. When something is good and it redounds to the benefit of your people, why don't you embrace it? Why don't you embrace it? Shasta is on a charade trying to destroy this country. When I hear pastor saying, we will give each of you $100,000 to join the RICO lawsuit. The RICO lawsuit is not against the state. Those individuals have money to give each of them $100,000. You don't see this BS you're spewing. Nonsense alone. Each of you can get 100,000 US. From who? Lameki Munyoka Jueni. You're so Claude Emmanuel, so Claude Emmanuel can give it half 80. The nonsense that you'll spew, will come back to haunt you. But as it is now, if I were to say that Dominica has undergone transformational changes, get at uplifting Dominica towards prosperity under Roosevelt Skerrit, I give him full marks. And don't come and tell me about this, that, and the other. Because when say evidence na dilipi, show me what was there before, show me after. And then I That is the book I will write the story. Now, folks, in fact, I played the clip before the break. You all heard my contribution in the House on Tuesday. Okay? You all heard my contribution last week, Tuesday. You see, folks, the opposition can go on a high. They can go on a low. The fact remains that the statistics and the numbers show that this country is much better managed. It is under much better management than what existed between 2016 and 2021. The truth is, people can lie. People can lie. Shasne lies every day. He's a renowned, unequivocal, pathetic liar. He is. My sister don't like me to call him. He's a stranger to the truth. Indeed he is. People can lie. They can make up stories. They can make up stories. All kind of stories. Wait it. You know, make up stories. But numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Numbers and data that disclose empirical evidence of what the economy of any given country is, not taking its solution in isolation, any given country, those numbers don't lie. And what is relieving, folks, that those numbers that were presented to us by the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and his team were not compiled by civil servants over whom you all may believe that the government has some kind of control, although that's not so. They were not compiled by civil servants. They were compiled by a regional regulator, an institution of which we are part, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And you know, folks, because the figures, the numbers coming out of the ECCB show that Chasney is in a very dark position. He's in a very dark position compared to Philip Joseph Pierre with respect to the ability to manage the country. Say Flaboa Arara. They are making noise. They are making noise. And so the governor found himself, unfortunately so, but to become the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, you have to have a certain degree of integrity, and you can be guided by data. You can hold your own, as we say in the common palace. He can hold his own, and he held his own. But he was inundated with questions that seemingly that took a stance on behalf of the opposition. And oh, how dismissive this economist was. He's truly a scholar. He is. And he gave a good account of himself. On DBS, all the governor was doing was relaying the information that had been compiled, and the story that the information told, it had been compiled by staff of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. But you know, the opposition believe they made it appear, and that's what they do to cause anxiety, unrest, instability, and probably tweak the minds of those persons who are saying, hey, Bodie, to give them a certain degree of unassurance, and they, in turn, you can bile kaila, puyo chwe what like, then you can vive. So they want to destroy this country. They are lurking for an opportunity. They have rubbed shoulders with all kinds of persons of criminality. just to mess us up. And then they'll see, you know. Some time ago, I played the clip last week. And you all have lost the correspondent banking. And that's just the beginning. If something is about to go wrong, Shastni, in a country that you yearn to lead again, in a country that you say you love, in a country the people elected you as prime minister, you are praying for a disaster to befall the people? Sakwe, hypocrite. You are praying for a disaster on our people just to regain the levers of power? Man, come on, man. Come on. And he went on to say, oh, that's just the beginning. You know? Folks, we were in cabinet last week, Monday, and we received a presentation, as I said, on Monday last week. And I can tell you what I saw from the data that was shown to all of us, some of which I will share with you tonight, because the data actually depicted. It was not meant to have done that, but you know Richard Frederick, with his investigative talent, police officer, youngest ever to join the force in St. Lucia, turned lawyer, turned talk shows, you know I have a very inquiring mind. And although the chat was not meant to compare the performance of Chasney and Philip J. Pierre, it just does that. That's exactly what it does. And I will share some of them with you. But you know, that presentation, hey, Albert Fregis, wait, guys, are you ready? Val, no chicken. You know, Albert took vacation and Albert go. Albert, they tell me, he come back here, tell me. But he'll be here next week, folks. He'll be here next week. I know Albert is there. He's somewhere, he's there. You know, it was extremely reassuring, the data that I saw provided by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And it provided all the evidence to show that St. Lucia is in a very good economic place. And it is not me saying it. It is the ECCB saying it. It is the Regulatory Authority for the Eastern Caribbean States saying it, Parish and Frederick. It depicts that this country is 1,000,000 times in a better position than what obtained between 2016 and 2021. Folks, firstly, when Chasney took over this country, our economy was doing the best in the OECS. When he released it as the worst. And guess what? In 3 years, Philip J. Pierre has turned the economy around. In 3 years. Since 1992, as you heard me in the House, for the last 32 years, 1992, prior to that, we enjoy economic growth successively, 5 years, 10 years. Because we had then what we colloquially refer to as green gold. Bananas were doing extremely well and providing such much needed foreign exchange. So we were doing well. Every farmer had his van and his car at home packed by a big house. Farmers enjoyed a status in those days that is totally unparalleled to what obtains now, because we had many more farmers and all of them were quite wealthy. A lot of them. I remember in my days the Pelagis in Miku. You know, Pelagi had over 100 workers on his farm. I mean, a lot. But when we lost the protection on the European market in 1992, our economy took a turn for the worst. And so in the last 32 years, the economy of St. Lucia had not grown for 3 consecutive years by 3% or more. You all heard me? Pour tuot kat l'année, tuot de l'année, économiste li si pate gros pour pliper 3% à 3 l'année yon de l'autre. But since Philip Joseph Pierre, our St. Lucian product, the product of St. Lucia, since he has been prime minister, the economy of this country has grown by more than 3% for each of the 3 years that we have been in office, something that has not happened for the last 32 years. And I will not only tell you, I will show you. I will also show you what the ECCB project, that our growth rate will be at the end of this financial year, and the projections for the next financial year, our last year before the end of the term. So, I will show you all what they are asking us, because they are saying St. Lucia is doing so well that if we continue along that path, if we continue doing what we are doing, St. Lucia's economy can double in the next 10 years. Put up that thing for me, please. Good. What would it take to double the size of St. Lucia's economy over the next 10 years, from 5.47 billion in 2023 to 11.48 billion by 2033? You can put it down. And they told us what we need to do, because the St. Lucia is on a good path. St. Lucia is doing well. St. Lucia Pakale reverse is forward we are going. And so they obviously see the trend that the economy is taking. We can double the economy in the next 10 years. But there are certain things we need to do. Show them what we need to do for me, please. Okay, good. If we look to the right of the screen, we have to do this. The growth, that is potential growth gains from reforms. Lower our debt, better business climate, disaster cost reduction, greater human capital developments, lower NPLs and non-performing loans, less crime, and deeper trade integration. So those are some of the things they want us to do. And they're saying, given what we are already doing, if for the next 10 years we can implement those policies, we can double the economy of this country in the next 10 years. Folks, we have some work to do. But I know we can do it. I know this country can do it. I know we can do it, and we will do it. Because Seflabosa la poko kaivina power. Seflabosa la poko kaivina power. And I am telling you for the next 10 years, in 2033, I will be here. God will keep me here for me to refer to the program of today and to tell you, I told you so. By which time the economy of this country would have doubled. Already we are the leading economy in the OECS. Okay, we are. But let me show you the developments in St. Lucia. I'm coming to it now. Put up the developments of St. Lucia for me, please. Right. This is, folks, we were given a chat, and this was the very first page, developments in St. Lucia. Show me the developments. Good. Ha. Head is well, the economy of St. Lucia showed resilience and amidst international and domestic challenges. But you see what I've done there, folks? I have shown the growth in the economy, whatever you see highlighted here. And I didn't make it up. C'est Flaboa, pas moi qui fait. C'est Flaboa, pas Richard Frederick qui mette ses bagailles salala. I did not do it. Okay? I did not do it. It was compiled, and the projections for this financial year, next financial year, came from the ECCB, apart from Richard Frederick. I am showing it to you all. So, folks, growth. You all see I have Chasney on the left between 2016 for his 5 years, and I have PJP on the right. Good. So here it is, folks. 2016, Chasney, 3.4%. 2017, Chasney, 3.4%. 2018, 2.9%. 2019, the economy contracted. From 2019, pardon my COVID, we had no COVID in 2019. We had no COVID in 2019. So Pavin Dimwe, that the economy did bad because of there was COVID. COVID hit us in January of 2020. Pavin Dimwe COVID. So the economy started contracting under Chasney. 2019, minus 7%. Minus. Then in 2020, the economy contracted, the greatest contraction in the world. A tout pays holatea economic nuki desan pliba bashasne tout pays holatea teni COVID. So don't tell me it's COVID again. Don't tell me it's COVID again. Don't tell me that. Because everywhere in the world had COVID. But Chasney caused our economy to contract by the greatest contraction in the world of 24.6%. Philip J. Pierre, 2021, 10%. Philip J. Pierre, 2022, 18.2%. Philip J. Pierre, 2023, 3.4%. And for this financial year, the economy is projected to grow at the end of this financial year, 2024, by 7%. And at the end of the last year, financial year, in his term, by 5.6%. I have to say that in Patois. I have to say that in Patois. Zotka we comme me Chasney and PJP. Pas moi qui fait ces nombres, listen. Pas moi qui fait, ma connaître rien ça, ma kaliye kui, pas moi qui fait. Ça sorti Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. Et qui kaboutou, Chasney vini, 3 pour 4, 2 pour 9, den économie en point descendant. Et dernière année, 2020, économie en contract 24.6. Économie nous qui descend plus bas à haut la terre. Économie nous qui descend plus bas. Philippe J. Pierre vini. A première l'année à 10%. Deuxième l'année à, why did you take it out? Deuxième l'année à 18.2. I'll tell you when to take it out, black boy. 18 is 18.2%. Troisième l'année à 3.4. And then for this year, the ECCB is projecting 7% growth. And for next financial year, 5.6% financial growth. Tell me, folks, having seen that, you can take it down now. Having seen that, who is managing the economy better? Who is managing the economy better? Tell me. I didn't make up those numbers, you know. I didn't make up those numbers. The ECCB projects that we will grow by 7% for this financial year and 5.6% in our last financial year. That would be an unprecedented growth of over 3% in 5 consecutive years. Totally unprecedented. Huh? And then Shasta will open his mouth. Shasta will open his mouth. Huh? Open his mouth. Oh, the country is in a mess. We're taking our country back. Which country you taking back, Shasta? Which country you want to take us back? We are not going back for whatever. We are not going back. Numbers don't lie, folks. Numbers don't lie. It is amazing that when there was absolutely no COVID, Shasta's highest percentage growth rate was 3.4, and Philip's lowest growth rate is Shasta's highest growth rate. Ça, Shasta fait qu'il te pli meilleur à sec l'année. Philippe J.P.S. quand il fait plus mauvais. Quand Shasta fait plus meilleur, c'est là il fait plus mauvais. Et tout le c'est mouton. And y'all are telling me, y'all are telling me that y'all flubbers are crying foul. Take our country back. Our country is in a mess. Go and ask the ECCB. Go and ask the ECCB, and they will tell you it's just BS y'all are spewing. Shasta's highest growth rate is Philip Shakespeare's lowest growth rate. Shasta shrunk the economy by the most in the world. That contraction was totally unprecedented. The country in a mess. Which mess? Y'all pockets in a mess. That's what the mess is. Y'all pockets in a mess. And that is why you have said it, Shasta. Y'all will not win the elections. Y'all will be finished. Ukidi. Because anything you touch, you destroy. Those people should have known that. Debu touche, ukagate. And those statistics will be there to hunt you. They will be there to hunt you. At the end of our 5-year tenure, when we put our report cards to the electorate and we present the comparisons, they will never give you a passing grade. Because people are no longer stupid. And even those people who support the older folk who support the United Workers' Party, their children will educate them on the empirical evidence that the country is in good hands. I didn't say it, you know. I didn't say it. So when you all talk your brouhaha, that is why I tell you I believe in evidence. I believe in evidence. I like tangible empirical evidence in substantiation of what you say. The country is doing bad, but we are doing so well that the ECCB is already contemplating doubling our economy. The ECCB is saying, if we continue as we are doing, and we put a few more mechanisms in place, we will double the economy in 10 years. Oh, in a mess. Take our country back. 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 Saka back la. Folks, our debt to GDP was at its highest under Shasta in 2020. It was 97%. 97% despite rebasing. I don't have time to say what rebasing is, but basically rebasing is you lower it by any means necessary. Despite rebasing, it was 97%. And let me just tell you what that means. That means for every dollar the country makes, 97 cents is already owed, and we only have 3 cents to take care of our expenses, our current expenses, current, recurrent, whatever, capital. 97 cents out of every dollar under Shasta was already owed. Uni yo dollar. Me say toi go tout sell uni. But toi go, what's 3 cents? Toi sous. Sorry. Toi sous. I don't know if there is such a thing. You know. 97% on the Shasta. All of that is in the presentation. Guess what it is now? And in 2020, when our debt to GDP was 97%, The ECCU, that means the Eastern Caribbean countries, Dominica, St. Kitts, Antigua, blah, blah, Grenada, St. Vincent. The average was 87% among all the islands, which means Shasta had our debt to GDP 10% higher than the average. Average là, c'était 87. Mais Shasta n'était ça 10% plus haut. We were at 97%. And if they did not rebase, we would have surpassed 100%, which means that for every dollar we make, we pay that with it and we have to borrow to pay that. But he rebased. And so for every dollar we made, we only had 3 cents. Today, I will tell you what it is. Today, we are at 74%. Debt to GDP has gone down. We are at 74. And under Philip J.P., it will continue to go down, just like corruption. The corruption index, as you all know, it will come out soon. It has gone down and down and down. It will go down. So we are now at 70. You know, when you all talk all your brouhaha and everybody will get $100,000. I don't believe in BS, you know. I believe in empirical evidence. That's how I argue. I argue and I substantiate whatever I say. My utterances are just not out of my head. Like when Shasta said, oh, they reported 800. Said, 800? Yeah, 800. Toi, Mouni, you report, you need 800. Well, mama, papa. You know, I don't understand. I just don't understand. I don't get it. We are now at 74%, which means we have 20, we move from 3 cents on every dollar. We now have 26 cents on every dollar. You telling me you'll trade Philip J.P. for Shasta? If you love your country, that's not even a thought for consideration. It's not even a thought for consideration. And that is why I tell you, anybody can talk. They can go bra, 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 bra. But the figures will tell you who is managing the country better. And that's the evidence. That's the evidence. And imagine, folks, the last thing I'll say on that presentation, because, I mean, I have the stuff here, I could show you. It has probably about 50-something pages, you know. St. Lucia Country Outreach. Not done by me, done by the ECCB. It has everything in there. Everything in there. And you could see evidence of mismanagement. That will become my Bible. When we go into the campaign, well, I campaign every day anyway. Because my honeymoon, I'm not campaigning the 2 months before election. All the things I'm doing in Central is campaign. I'm campaigning before the elections. I'll relax. Whether they send the electrician, whether they send the fake engineer that don't have 0 qualifications, I don't care who it is. Once you jump in the arena, you become my political competitor. Well, you have to take the blows when they come. It's like that. It's like that. That arena is not for easy people. It's not for easy people. You have to be tough and ready. You have to be tough and be ready. So, folks, tout evidence lakamutui. Tout evidence lakamutui. Huh? Tout evidence lakamutui. Somebody say, I always lie, go and get the facts from Ring the Bell. Oui. All the evidence shows that the country is under better management. And the country is doing much, much better now than it did between 2016 and 2021. And also in there, they made certain recommendations. Folks, you will not even believe this. You will not even believe. Some of the recommendations that the ECC made to the government, we already have them in place without even talking to the ECCB prior to implementing them. Put up the recommendations quickly, let me see. Look at that. Leveraging sports to expand the youth economy. Now, leave that there for me. Youth economy. Isn't that already in place, folks? Didn't the Prime Minister implement what is his brainchild, the youth economy? Wasn't the youth economy in the manifesto of the Labour Party? And it has been doing very, very well. We did not take money to give away for vaccines, which we never recovered. By the way, I'm coming to that in a bit. We did not lend foreigners money to go and buy, pensioners money to go and buy land and sell $1 million US a lot and to make profit. No. We help to empower young people. And then it goes on to see, for economic growth through sports tourism, this would require building out sporting infrastructure at the national and community levels. Folks, you all heard that? Sporting infrastructure at the national and community levels. We did that. We went to Parliament, borrowed $80 million for the complete refurbishment of the Darren Sammy cricket ground and to refurbish and restore a lot of the sporting facilities across the length and breadth of St. Lucia. But what did Shasney do? First of all, he filmed a video. He filmed a video the night before the first match and say we are not ready yet. This government taking us to a papi show. But to his surprise, all commentators praised our grounds, calling it, we received the top prize in the grounds in the Caribbean. But he went on, he took that thing, they're taking us to a papi show, we're not ready. Then on the $80 million loan, what did he do? He wrote every Tom, Dick, and Harry he could possibly conceive that may advise the government otherwise. He wrote the Chamber of Commerce. What does the Chamber of Commerce have to do with those kinds of decisions by government to improve sporting facilities? He wrote the IMF denouncing our actions. And only to find out the ECCB is now recommending the exact thing that we already have in place. You don't understand. You don't understand. You simply don't understand logic. That is why you said in the house on Tuesday, this man is something else. The man said Grenada filed for bankruptcy. And right then in the house, I did a simple Google search that says no country can file for bankruptcy. The country can be in a situation where it cannot service its debt, but a country cannot file for bankruptcy. Shasney opened his mouth and said Grenada filed for bankruptcy. And that is the kind of nonsense, misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, and lies that he spews. And sadly, the gullible ones drink it. The gullible ones that have jaundice, they drink it because they are the 43%ers, as he called them. They drink it. Gazo Patan, Shasney Grenada filed for bankruptcy, not knowing that the country cannot file for bankruptcy. Shasney, you need to stop preying on the ignorance of our people or your perceived ignorance. But I'm telling you this, the world gets small, and even those you believe are unintelligent, their children and grandchildren can educate them differently. I was so surprised when we introduced the 2.5% health and security levy that almost everything I said on my show was said in Creole to the interviewer. And everybody they interviewed supported the government. Everyone. Everyone. They are listening. I know they are. They are listening. And they know when I speak, I don't speak. Y'all just say what y'all want. So when I say, under Philip J. Pierre, Shasney's best year as Prime Minister is Philip J. Pierre's worst year. His best year is J. Pierre's worst year. And you want to come back and do what? Which, if you call the country in a mess now, what would you call it when you were Prime Minister? Commerce. If it's in a mess now, And the numbers are showing our economy is far, far superior than what existed under you. Greatest contraction in the world. You know? Don't believe people are stupid, man. You know, don't believe people are stupid. And then say, we're going. Folks, the country now is in safe hands. And we're not doing like Chastney that go and take evidence and come back without evidence. I showed you the evidence. I showed you the evidence. The statistics, the evidence, the data was not compiled by me or any employee of the St. Lucia Labour Party. Not a government employee. So we are not going back to that commerce of 2016 to 2021. We're not going there, Shasti. We're not going back there. So they have no country you taking back. Taking back where? Taking back over there? That's also Bungfu. No. No, bro. And I did not say it. Parrish and Frederick Kinney. You all call me liar, you all call me any kind of thing. But it's y'all, the ZLF that has called me liar. Because you'll never see them put up any piece of paper in substantiation of what they say. You're just caddy. They just say it. You know? Now, talking about going back, Shasti. Shasti gave $7.3 million to Maloney. Maloney was somebody doing business with his brother-in-law. Okay? And when he gave it to Maloney, he lied. Shasti lied to us and said that Barbados had given money as well. Now, folks, you will not believe this. The man Shasti gave our money. Now, Gasai, there is an old saying, I'm not saying it's applicable now. I'm divorcing myself from the saying in what I have to say. Yo toujours dit, le. The man Shasti gave our money now claims it was a scam. Ignite this up at toi. Shasti te delay by la vaccine nou. Babat bay la ha, etc. si bay la ha. E ki di yo te fe tout due diligence yo ale nom la, ek brother-in-law ete a business asa. Yo di yo fe tout due diligence. A cholman mem nom sala ka di, that i pwe la ha i bayon lot mouni, ek mounan sete o scam yo teni. Bon, nous tout ça scam ye. Ou ka bay ka vin le phone ou gen combien million dollars. Combien million dollars me ve? Un combien million dollars? Vwe ou $1,000 pour vwe ba? Moi connais tout moun ki di mo fam ka vin abon plenek ou go patchi la bali prete 2,000 gout pour vwe ba fam la pour payer pas ça. Pour les gars di fam la ouvert patchi la ha pour yada. You know, and all those scams. So Maloney is now claiming Maloney is now claiming that he was scammed. I lie? Put it up for me, please. Good. Maloney, we're going after the assets. Scroll up for me. Hear this well, folks. Prominent businessman Mark Maloney has vowed to take all steps necessary to go. Now that Maloney is the fella Shasti gave our vaccine money. Koute bien messieurs, Peter the Great, Canada, Anson Maxwell. Koute moi pour les oka di ba el a di comme di la. This was the same man Shasti gave our money. Prominent businessman Mark Maloney vowed to take all necessary steps to go after the assets of the people involved in the COVID-19 vaccine scam. Ha, papa. Are you all hearing me? St. Lucians here in the diaspora and in the wider world. Are you all hearing me? Nancy Charles, are you hearing me? Maloney is now saying it was a scam. Mem Maloney has a baila hanu. It was a scam. Let me read it again. prominent businessman Mark Maloney has vowed to take all necessary steps to go after the assets of people involved in the COVID-19 scam, which resulted in his company, Radical Investments. You all remember Radical Investments? Losing 6.75 million or Barbados 13.5 million. The money and the money is not his, you know. Pas toute l'argent qui s'est sali, a de l'argent ça lâché l'argent c'est ici. Zot katan moi? That's the man Shasne gave our money, who's now admitting there was a vaccine scam. And Shasne told us that all due diligence had been done. So it goes on. The money was part of US 12 million, which was supposed to be used to procure AstraZeneca vaccines for Barbados and St. Lucia during the pandemic. But while it was paid, the vaccines were never received. You all heard that, Messi? You all heard that? And I believe, yes, when Shasne, Cassius, you're right. When Shasne was Prime Minister, we ended up on the EU blacklist. How can you tell me? How can you, Alan Michael Shasne, take taxpayers' money, claim you have done all due diligence, and today, the man you gave the money is saying he gave it to somebody else and it was all a scam? Huh? It was all a scam. And right now, he's suing them to get back the money. And he wants to go after the assets. You know? And then you want to tell me you want to bring back Shasti. You can take this down. You know, you can take it down. Bring them back Shasti where? To do what? You taking our money, give it to Maloney, a man who has no experience in procuring any kind of pharmaceuticals. He takes it, give it to somebody else, and all of that is a scam. Huh? All of that is a scam, and today, Maloney will admit it is a scam, and he wants to go after the people. He wants to go after the assets. Shaste, you see what you put us through, what you put the country through. You will pay for it. God will do what he has to do, but you will pay for it. And the country's in a mess. Let's take our... Which country you taking back? Go and get our money for us. Go and... Those you give to your king passports to sell overseas, and I'm happy that you are in the house and I can put the allegations to you so all your Zelev could see. You know? All your zealots could see that I'm putting the allegations to you. Sign an agreement telling T.O.R. King you can take our passport money and put it in a foreign account overseas to which we have no access. Huh? Then you give Maloney our money. He passed it on to somebody. When you told us Barbados gave money, the minister came out and said, "Ma, we ain't giving that man no money. We ain't giving him any money. Bring the vaccines, we're going to pay you." But you take our money, give it to the man. Now he's saying it's a scam. You didn't know it was a scam, Shasne? You didn't know it was a scam? And now he has to go after the assets. Well, we're going after him too. We're going after him. We're going after him. And then you all will talk about bringing Shasne back. Up to now, we have not received all our monies. Bringing Shasne back. Make Shasne Prime Minister again. Of what? Of what? We have to build one of those 23 islands that he promised the people in Asia that he would build. Build the 23 islands and put him as Prime Minister of one of them. Who is going to live in this country under Shasta, taking all our resources, sending them down the drain, and he has the audacity to talk about wasting money? Boy, boy, boy. Maloney himself now is saying it was part of a scam. That's the man. They are saying make him prime minister again. How Nancy call him Nomma Manu? Lord Jesus, help those gullible ones. Help them. But if you all think this country goes back into the hands of Shasti, think again, because our people are not stupid. Total madness. Quand l'argent gouvernement, l'argent taxpayers, nous nous dit, maman qui a l'école sans manger, nous nous health center pour buy women, nous nous tout chimé pour manger, mais on a pas l'argent nous, et qu'on a payé nos scam. And then bring back Shasti. Bring him back where? To the what? And then he will open his mouth and say the country, he's not in a mess. You want to come and do commerce? No way. Folks, now, let me just go on to two other things before I open the lines and take a few calls. I built Serenity Park. It was my brainchild. Flabo come in and change the name. George Mallet Serenity Park. I came in and I said, look, Serenity Park is going to its original name. And the comments that the Flabos are making are simply unbelievable. Flabos, why didn't y'all open your big mouths and tell Shasta not to change the name in the first place? Why didn't y'all do it? Why didn't y'all say we hold strong objections given the way the name was derived? Why? But today, I say it's going back to its original name. And you all have all that harara. You all have harara. Folks, listen to this well. Those Flabos, some of them are sick if you ask me. Serenity Park is my brainchild. I conceptualized it. I begged the Taiwanese for money. They gave me the money. I built Serenity Park. At the time, persons on council suggested that I name Serenity Park after me. I said no. I said no. We had a school competition of all schools in Castries. We formed a committee to judge the names that came in and to make a determination which name was the winner. They selected Serenity Park. The child, and hear this well, you know, folks, at the opening of Serenity Park, the child who submitted that name was present and was permitted to address there were thousands of people there at that opening, a lot of people. She addressed the opening. Alan Shasta was there. Alan Shasta was present. Alan Shasta knows exactly how the name came about. But when they came in an effort at wiping off my name from the political landscape of this country, they figured, although it's my brainchild, I built it, I had a competitive basis on which to name it. No, man, let's call it George Mallet Serenity Park. Now, folks, I pause here to say this. I have no difficulty with recognizing the efforts or the political contribution of anybody, irrespective of what side of the fence they find themselves. If one has made a contribution worthy of recognition, give him his accolades. I have no problems with that. None. So if George Mallet has to be given his accolades, why not name Constitution Park or Bido Park other CDCs. Name something in the area that George Mallett represented. Folks, George Mallett is in his entire 50, 60-year political career never represented Sans Souci. Dans l'histoire créole. Mallett pas jamais représenté Sans Souci. Jamais. C'est après Mallett quitter yo realign boundaries là, Sans Souci c'était Castries North. Stevenson King te ka representé Sans Souci à l'air. He never represented Sans Souci. Name a park where he represented. Sans Souci was never part of Central then. Y'all left Bido Park. Y'all left Constitution Park. Y'all left the CDCs. And the park I built, y'all want to redeem. So when they did what they did, I made no noise. I have not said a word up to now. Why do I make noise? What they did not realize, they never realized that the Almighty God would have bestowed upon me the authority that someday I would be in a position and have the capacity and authority to rename it. And so, you know, Kaba, Lord. And so God has placed me in this position. And I am saying tonight, the Flamos, y'all can go, arara. Y'all said absolutely nothing. I said absolutely nothing when it was changed. If George Mallett had represented Sans Souci, I bow. I bow. Well, do something in Soufrière for him. Or do something in Castries East, or in Grosile, or Miku South, or Miku East, or Miku West, or Miku North. Do something there for him. If y'all want to put it in that area he never represented, just put it anywhere in the island. You know, that's the only place y'all can put it. You know, but your efforts at discarding my recognition in the political arena have failed. And what is worse, folks, we cannot ask young people to participate. We cannot ask our students to participate. And when they do, we pay scant regard to their efforts. And that reminds me of the school children giving their little pennies in the restoration of St. Jude. That's what that reminds me of. Because St. Jude burned, everybody was giving a little raise to restore St. Jude. 3 prime ministers went in one direction. Let's restore St. Jude. And Shasty, different. You know? But we are not going back. We're going forward. The only place we're going back is back to Serenity Park. We are going back there. There's no question, no ifs, no buts. Now, Bradley Felix, you have been infested with the disease of liabilities and sahotism because of you suffer acutely from sahotism. And your infestation with liabilities is quite acute. You are a liar. Yes, you are. And I cannot say it any differently. I'm sorry. In the house on Tuesday, you said you got a letter of $100,000 and implied you had received nothing. You hadn't received nothing. But you never, in a very disingenuous way, never said that you had been given $60,000 before the $100,000. Bradley, you know what I always do? I show receipts. Show them the first letter written to Bradley for me, please. Look, here it goes, Bradley Felix. Housing repair program. Just scroll down, just show the amount. Dear parliamentary rep, let's go, black boy. Good. please be advised that an allocation of $60,000 in the first fees. Good. Very well, 60,000. Show the next one. Show the next letter. Department of Housing, Honorable Bradley Felix, June 16, 2023. Scroll down quickly. Dear Honorable Felix. Scroll down for us quickly, please. Good. The Department of Housing and Local Government is pleased to inform you, blah, 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 has been allocated the amount of 100,000. You can take it down. Bradley alluded to the second letter alone in Parliament and never in the slightest of ways insinuated that the good gentleman in Philip JPN, the benevolent man, had allocated $60,000 to him before. So, folks, I've shown you evidence, and that's how I deal. I've shown you evidence that Bradley has received, was allocated $160,000. Now, Bradley Felix, the MP of Swazel Saltibus, has spent $175,000. And Bradley, quite honestly, if you see the quiz take me, I show in the names on the amounts. But I will not. I respect people and their privacy. But what you'll do, you'll ride on the fact that those names and amounts will not be made public. So you lie. Barefaced liar. He overspent his allocation of $160,000 by $15,000. I have all the records. I have all. Everyone. So don't come in the house and pretend. If you are not lying or being disingenuous, why didn't you say, I got a first 60,000, then I got another. You spoke of the 100,000 alone. But I have receipts and payments totaling $175,000 to Bradley, because you know what? When they send the thing in, I am the only one that know the allocation. And my peers. My peers, myself, and the Prime Minister. Those processing the thing don't know. So they process. The man exceeded his allocation by $15,000, but he goes into the house. He goes into the house and still expect to exceed it more. You know? Now, folks, look at this. And, you know, they lie so much. I want to say this. Bradley also admitted in the house that he has received $100,000 per quarter under the CDP. Écoutez-moi bien. Bradley même admits, à Kaiko sit, that Prime Minister Kabale au $100,000 as a même opposition tous les 3 mois. Tous les 3 mois. We have been in office for 3 years and 1 quarter, meaning 13 quarters. Nous avons fait 12 coups, nous avons fait 3 mois. 13 quarters. So for those 13 quarters, it is safe to say that Bradley has received $1.3 million at $100,000 per quarter, plus the $175,000 under NHEP, which means Bradley has received in 3 years almost $1.5 million from the government. Idea Koyol. Bradley has joint presque $1,5 million pour faire bagaya for constituencies à bas gouvernement. Mais tant ça bien, et Chaste obligé à un pli. Chaste a un pli passé Bradley. Tant ça bien, Chaste fait pli passer 5 l'année comme premier ministre cette ici. He's the only prime minister that exceeded the 5-year period. Only one in the history of St. Lucia. He didn't want to give it up. And we could have actually known the date of elections until we start to pan him. Call the election. Y'all remember what I used to do every Sunday? Go around the island. Albert Frederick. Good night again. You know? We had to go around the island, pan him, call elections. after the 5-year period. Only prime minister in the history of St. Lucia to have done that. The power was too sweet. And for more than 5 years, he never gave any of the opposition members not one penny. Daidi Patwa, Bradley Hadako, il a eu presque $5 millions. Chasse oublié a un prix. Antiodé a pris presque $3 millions Antiodé. Pour plus payer 5 l'année. Chasse, you are a wicked man. You are a wicked man, Shasne. The resources of this country don't belong to you. You wicked. And for more than 5 years, he starved the opposition of resources, not giving them. In fact, Shondio Baekadi, pour 5 l'année, pas même un saxima qui pétait en constituency, qui fait. All of them were giving the prospective candidates Golo. You know about Golo? Fortuna came and said, oh, if you did not subscribe to the policies of the government, we cannot give you. And so they coined the Fortuna doctrine. And today, c'est ça hotla qui pa hebe baye, ka fe akodi, you a tit pour sa gouvernement kabaye. But it has to take a good man, a kind man, like Philip Joseph Pierre, to undo the wickedness that you do to him. Folks, we'll take a very short break. We'll take a couple calls when we come back.
The winning numbers for the evening draw of Thursday, 19th September 2024 were tic-tac-toe 3, 8, 9, 11, 14, 20, 21. Big 4, 6, 6, 6, 6. Big 4 multi-X, 2X. Pick 2, 3, 6. Pick 2 multi-X, 2X. 1 off, 7, 0, 9.
My name is Martina. I would like to say thank you to the guys from Paddy.
Say good night to a couple people. Cornelia Jacob, good night, good night, good night. Tandy Flat again. My brother Musa, comrade Musa is in the house. Musa, you need to come and play tub with me one of these days. Musa asked me to keep the people educated. I will always do that, my brother. That's what we're here for. That's what we have to do, because you see, numbers don't lie, Musa. They can say all what they want, but numbers don't lie. And we have the numbers to back up everything we say. David Mondlui over in the U.S., good night to you. Veronica, what you asked me there, is the housing loan under your ministry? No. No, it's not, baby. It's under, it's at SLDB, but they will facilitate because we have made it possible. We'll take a couple calls very quickly, folks. It's 11 o'clock already. Imagine the program is supposed to be 8:30 to 10, you know. Zotka Femwe a whole hour. So 5 calls, Black Boy want to put the phone off the hook already. That's what he does when he want to go. Good night, can I help you? Hello?
Hi, good night.
Good night.
How are you?
I'm not bad. Yes, hello.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm not too bad.
Okay. I must say that I'm really disappointed in the leader of the opposition for his habit of misinformation, his lies, his constant his constant always trying to cause division among people instead of trying to bring people together.
And
especially
he has a scare tactic. He always tries to create an anxiety that is non-existent.
And I'm sick and tired of this man trying to insult the intelligence of our people.
Indeed.
And one thing, we need to, once and for all, we need to wipe this man off of the political landscape of St. Lucia. And I propose that the SLP government use the 15-2 majority to pass legislation to ensure that this man never, ever becomes Prime Minister of St. Lucia again. Because this man is a very dangerous man. This man loves money, he loves power, he loves the ability to control people. And he misses that, and he wants that. And imagine this man being Prime Minister again in the next 2.5 years. What's going to happen?
He'll be
Everything that we've worked to achieve is going to go down the drain.
He'll be extremely vindictive, I could tell you that.
And imagine what this man is going to do to St. Lucia. Imagine the punishment that St. Lucia is going to face because of not electing this man in the last elections.
But God is good, caller. God wouldn't let that happen.
We cannot allow this man to ever be Prime Minister again.
Never.
And anyone now who supports this man was either promised something or wants something.
That's correct.
And one last thing I have to say, we don't want nobody else in Cash Central. One man we want in Central and we'll be behind him 100%. Good night.
Thank you. Well, anybody who wants to come to Central can come. Once it's Central, you put your eyes on, I could tell you, your eyes will freeze on Central. We have another caller. Good night. Can I help you? Yes. But it was really refreshing. Honorable Roosevelt, if you're still on, very, very nice. I have to visit you sometime. Probably, I'm supposed to be going to Martinique to deliver a speech. If I am going, I'll come to Dominica for a day. Yeah, good night. Can I help you?
Good evening. How are you doing, Mr. Frederick?
Hello?
Hello, good evening. How are you doing, man?
I'm not too bad.
I really enjoy that show today.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'm a Dominican by birth, but I'm a Solution by both because my wife is a Lucian.
Oh, yeah. You live in the States. You're Dominican, but you're married to a St. Lucia.
No, I live in the BVI. Well, I'm a Dominican by birth, but I'm a Solution by both.
All right.
My wife is a Lucian. I normally say that.
Yeah, you're married to a St. Lucia.
What I love today is that facts representative, as you always do.
That's all I do. I deal with facts. I don't deal with brouhaha.
No, and that's what I enjoy. That's why I listen to the first news because I look for statistics and that's really strong.
Thank you.
What I'm saying, this is the same thing happens in Dominica. These men are desperate men. They would have failed the country miserably. And then the same thing they do in Dominica. They go about bashing the program. Our own program is not good. But these are the same men who want to govern our country.
Exactly.
We're trying to destroy something that is working.
You want to destroy it to take over.
And it's to your own benefit.
But that's the thing. Opposition parties. I mean, if I'm in opposition and there is a good proposal for the country, what I would do, I would say I will run with it, and I can even do it better. I'll not try to destroy it. But that's what they're doing.
You see, on the other hand, I remember in 1994 when we were having our general elections. Why Leonard Clinton you criticizing the program? Leonard was the one who was making deals with all kinds of people who would give within 28 days in office, who would give them passport and everything. The same is happening with Alan. He did so much foolishness and then he's saying he will make it better, but all along he would just be crooks and criminals. And I always say, once you have that letter before your political party, you don't really fit, and just total serious and problem.
All right, Connor.
Keep up the good work, Mr. Frederick.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yes, that is, Brother Scary, this is a Dominican who lives in the BVI, married to a St. Lucian, as you just heard. I know he listens and he sometimes calls. Jean Francis Fassois, good night to you, good night, good night. And tell Jamal I say good night. He doesn't listen to the show. So, Jamal, I told your mother, tell you good night. We have another caller. Good night, can I help you? Hello? Ooh, we are experiencing technical difficulty. How many calls have we taken? 2, 3? Okay. Good night. Can I help you? The call dropped? When the calls start dropping, I rather suspect a black boy doing that deliberately, you know. He's the kind of man, he said, the show's supposed to finish at 10 o'clock. 11 o'clock, you have me there. After 11, you think I don't have a home. And then he puts the phone off the hook sometimes and see the call drops. Black boy, let's take 3 more calls, sir. Good night, can I help you? Folks, I think we have a technical difficulty in here tonight. Alan Amide, good night to you. Andy Donny, good night. Ria Cruz, good night. Thank you, Richard, for all your hard work. Not even UWB can have 800 viewers during the prime time, yet at 11 p.m. you're holding strong. Murray Frederick, my forever after, says, RF, go home. Okay, I'm going to go home now. Folks, we won't take any more calls. I think we have some technical difficulty insofar as the incoming calls are concerned. So, as I've always said, if God has blessed you, no one can curse you. Live clean, because what you sow, you are bound to reap. And be careful of the pit that you dig for others. It may just be your own. I'm Richard Frederick saying good night. See you next Thursday, God willing. Bye.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the